First of all, thank you so much for having me. And thank you all for inspiring me daily. In this moment in time, I live, breathe, and the cells of my body get like all jumpy and excited based on humans like you who are the warriors who will bring us forward. And I am so grateful to be here and to be sharing space with you all in this moment because of that. And congratulations for getting to this moment and all that you accomplished. Like, um, I try to stay off social media actually most of the time, but when I do, I'm pretty cultivated about or curated about who I follow. And one of the people I follow is a woman named Glennon Doyle, who I love. And one of the things she spoke to today was we can do hard things. And it was actually a challenge for teachers to like, you can check her out and get a little bit more information about it. But this is one of those moments where I am so grateful to every human being who commits to doing the not easy thing. And I feel like I am speaking to a group of humans who have chosen to do the hard thing. And I'm choosing to be here in this space with you all in this moment because my best friend Erin and Judy are humans who do the hard thing, but they do it with joy. Judy spoke about my work with Resistance Revival Chorus, where we sing as an act of protest because joy is an act of resistance. And in this moment, we have to choose our narrative. Every day we get to choose our narrative. The fact that we are all fortunate enough to be in front of a computer means we're privileged, right? To be here in this moment means we have a lot of stuff that nobody, like so much of the world doesn't even have. And with that privilege, what does that mean and how do I want to serve? And in this moment, how we choose our narrative and how we choose our story is everything to me. And I know that Judy mentioned to me that you guys have been talking about resilience a little bit. And for me, resilience, a lot of resilience is the story we choose to tell out of challenge. We can do hard things. And then what's the story we're going to tell? Do we want to spend the rest of our lives saying like, oh, remember COVID, that was so hard? Or do we want to walk out of COVID going, yeah, remember that time where I had more time to give to this challenge. I had more time to think about who is the human that I want to be on this planet and how do I want to serve the environment? How do I want to serve climate change? For me personally, this time is okay, I have more time. I am offset. I have more time to be an activist. I've been a full-time activist, and all of the causes that I usually am like, I'm so sorry, I don't have time. I'm like, okay, yeah, bring it. I was singing with Resistance Revival Chorus last night for Trans Day of Remembrance. And I got a text from a friend at Amnesty International because 28 kids are about to be deported. And will you make a video? And I'm like, yeah, as soon as I get home, I'm going to go make that video because I can right now. What for me, it's like bloom where you're planted, right? And a huge piece of that is being a parent. A huge piece of that is my daughter. And okay, bless, I have more time with her than I ever have. And how are we going to go deep with that? How are we going to make sure we're not on screens all the time? How are we going to make sure we're fully present with each other? What are the structures and rituals and boundaries that we create in our life so that this feels like a sacred time? This isn't a punishment, this is a gift. And
Yep.
that's a choice, and that to me is what parenting is about, is choosing the narrative as a parent, choosing the narrative in your life, and giving your child the power and tools to choose their own narratives.
Thank you for the beautiful inspiration. And as you said, you're now a full-time activist, and that every day you get to choose your narrative. But the narratives I've watched you choose are massive and endless. You fight for the environment, you fight for voting, voters' rights, you fight for sustainability, you fight for health, you fight for climate justice. What draws you to the things that you stand for and the narratives that you have in your life every
So
day?
I get asked that all the time, and the honest answer I can tell you guys, which like when the press asks me this, I can't like say this because I feel like they don't get me. But to you guys, I can be like, I don't understand anybody who doesn't make that choice. Do you know what I mean? It's like, what do you mean? Like, I don't understand not standing up for climate justice. Like, I don't understand not showing up for trans rights. Like, I don't understand the opposite. It's actually much harder for me to understand people who are climate deniers, or don't believe that women shouldn't have the right over their own body, or like all of the things the right to vote, the right of undocumented people, like uh, there's so many simple things that I simply don't understand how people don't believe in those things. So it's actually much harder. Like, I don't, when I'm asked that in the press, it's always the hardest question. They're like, when did you first start caring about the environment? I'm like, how we were all born from Mother Earth, and we were all like, how could you not care about the environment? I don't understand. And sometimes I think like, when did I like, because for me, I don't know about y'all, but like, I get sad every time I flush a toilet. It's true, like it's kind of ridiculous, but I'm like, my husband and I have issues about it. He's laughing right now. My husband is laughing hysterically because we fight about it a little bit. Because I'm like, I don't want to flush a toilet because that's a lot of water.
I know, honey.
Dad's like, flush the toilet all the time. You gotta flush the toilet no matter what. And you're like, I don't want to flush the toilet ever.
Like that. So I don't. I don't know where I got that. Where I got like such care for water, particularly, or like nature, but it's who I am. It's in the cells of my body. I don't understand how anybody doesn't have that. Um, but it's just who I am. And I keep on, it keeps on deepening. Just like our knowledge, like for example, as I'm now understanding the intersection of racism and climate justice. I never fully understood that before. And so that's a deepening of my desire for climate justice, because I am also an anti-racist, and I never realized how they came together.
And I think on that note, I feel the same. I feel like I've never in 63 years of life, never felt the depth of what each of us can do and must do, whether it's not flushing the toilet or going out and marching or eating organic food. And I think about you, many are white women that are deeply committed to justice. And I'd love to hear your impressions of what it means not to just be an ally, but to also be an accomplice in this moment,
Mm-hmm.
and why our goals and mission require everybody to come together in order to get to wherever it is we have to get to.
Yeah. I I know that you guys were privileged to talk to Nicole earlier, who is one of my fully heroes. And I'm constantly learning from her on a daily basis, thanks to the Anti-Racism Daily. And it's funny because one of the things I've learned from her is I used to say, it's so important to stand up for what you believe in. And then she made it clear to me that that's actually a term that is, hold on, my husband's, okay. Home office. That's a term that's, what do I want to say? Inappropriate for the disabled community, right? Because that's it's prejudiced, and I love the word stand up. So I'm like, okay, I want to show up for and put my body out for the things I believe in. That sounded a little bit like I'm a prostitute for things, and I don't mean it that way. But though sometimes I am, actually, not really, but my truth is, in this moment, I've always known that I am a very privileged white woman. I'm understanding white supremacy on a deeper level, and hence how to show up. And that's, one of the biggest things is listening. One of the biggest things is just being quiet. And we have a lot of women in this room. Ethan and Nestor, are you the only two guys? You're the only two guys I see here. Are there other guys?
There's some on the teams of some of the students that are here.
Well, first of all, Ethan and Nestor,
and Wenhao and Travis.
Okay, Wenhao and Travis, you four, I give you huge credit, because as you can see, like, there's this interesting thing about, like, women care about Mother Earth and men are like, whatever. And so I give you huge credit for being the true, accomplices that you are, not just allies and not just showing up, but like true accomplices. And it's a really interesting thing learning. I feel like there's an interesting thing around the patriarchy, and learning for me as a woman to listen more, because as a woman, I was taught to speak up more, like speak up more, because society had taught me to be quiet, be good girl, be quiet. And then, like, I tried to teach myself to talk more and be out there more. And then around anti-racism work, it's a little bit about taking a step back and being quiet again. So as I say that, it's interesting. That is sort of a cycle, right? And one of the gifts that we learn as climate advocates is to honor the cycles of nature. And that when we are in tune with, like, those cycles, the winter, spring, summer, fall, the onion skins, like all of the cycles and beauty of nature, when you're in tune with that, you see those cycles everywhere, right? And you get to, like, understand the metaphor and the deep wisdom of that. And so it's been really interesting to see how anti-racism work and climate justice, where they intersect.
Yep.
And that's a place I'm really interested in showing up more. And
And you will, I am
Yeah.
sure. And I think the cycles of nature and the cycles of humanity are intersectional, and what we see every day at this moment in time. And I just want to say to you, as an actress, producer, filmmaker, designer, singer, mother, wife, force of nature, with the layering of a strong, proud, proactive climate, social, and environmental filter over everything you do, I know you will show up in every one of these spheres. And I think from all of us, especially from Erin and myself, thank you for your authenticity, for fearlessly getting out there and being who you are and your infectious spirit, and for the days and weeks ahead when we all have to hold hope and be together and find strength when we gather. I just want to say thank you. And in 20 seconds, words of hope to this group. What might they be?
Oh, well, the biggest thing that I would say is to balance the work that we need to do with the celebration for the work that's already done. Like that's kind of life for me in a heartbeaty way. I'm working with a lot of people in entertainment right now, and we're like talking about what's the message moving forward. And the message moving forward, that like our mantra is, we're winning because we already won. And that's specifically sort of talking about Georgia and winning the Senate.
Yeah.
But it is so deeply important that we talk about the successes, that we talk, especially around climate, because we hear so much trash talk about climate, right? And there's so much fear mongering about climate. And I think back, like full circle again, about narrative. Let's choose the narrative of, we are these amazing climate superheroes that are changing the world. Like that's who you are. You are climate superheroes who are changing the world. And anything is possible, truly.